Hi, Alan Schimmel of DevOps.com, and here with another interview for the DevOps Enterprise Summit 2015. We have Cheryl Williams and Kyle Downey, who are here presenting this week, and they're from Sony Network Entertainment. Cheryl, Kyle, welcome.
Thank you.
You guys are from Sony Network Entertainment, and I assume most of our listeners at least have heard the name Sony and Sony Entertainment. Why don't you give a little bit of background, though, about what you're presenting here at DevOps Enterprise Summit this year?
Basically, we are presenting about continuous delivery for the deployment pipeline, and so how to release out your pipeline so that the engineers can use it.
Great. And Sony Network Entertainment, what kind of apps are you developing? What kind of software are you got code? What are you guys doing that are around continuous delivery?
So we are basically responsible for the PlayStation Network. Is essentially what our engineers are working on. So the department that we're in is actually releasing the software that engineers write, so that all of the teams can get commerce and everything working, so that people can actually go and connect online and purchase things through their PlayStation.
Fantastic. So updates to the game consoles, the network itself, are all kind of falling under what you're doing, or just the network?
Not the game consoles, but primarily the network, where people have logged in and are
and the network, of course, is a huge undertaking in and of itself.
Correct.
So a lot of in there. So let's talk, if you don't mind, let's talk a little bit about sort of what you guys are doing around continuous delivery and how it's evolved, let's say, over the last 18 to 24 months, and the effect DevOps has had on it in CD. Kyle?
Well, we started with a homegrown tool that we were using, which was basically just doing rsync out to our environment. It was not very good because it was a lack of repeatability, lack of accountability. You couldn't report, you couldn't do that. So we moved into a purchase tool that we were using for a little while, and we quickly outgrew it because we have a lot of applications and we have a lot of requirements with dependencies and being able to ensure that everything gets out properly and is tagged and reportable. So we've now moved into a third tool that we're using that's we're trying to truly implement reliability, repeatability, scalability, and be able to grow as the platform grows. Mm-hmm. So what we've done is, and I'll let Kyle elaborate on it, we've created a pipeline. One of our biggest challenges we had was working within our department to make the pipeline. We didn't have test environments, we just had a production environment. So if we made a change, it was very possible for us to break our system so that nobody could build and nobody could deploy, which was a problem. So with the implementation of the new tool, we decided we didn't want to do that anymore. And we needed to have a proper pipeline like we require of our developers to get the platform code out. We needed to have a pipeline to get our code out so that everybody could continue to build and release. And so Kyle came in and
Well, I think that ties in too, just overall, DevOps, we're kind of showing with our group that DevOps is not just for, development teams, and we were really pushing continuous delivery to the different engineering teams, and really came and said, we're pushing everybody else for this, why aren't we doing this? And that really kind of started us down this path of, why aren't we doing this, and why can't we why can't we do this? So, really we discovered that there's really nothing stopping us from applying those principles to our own team and really kind of becoming a development team in and of ourselves.
Makes a lot of sense. Just, if you don't want to mention names, you don't have to, but is the tool you selected, COTS, commercially available?
we are using Electric Flow. Is the tool that we're implementing currently.
Very good. I'm happy with that. People talk about the difference between in DevOps and this kind of new way of doing things. There's the tools that we use, but the tools themselves are almost secondary to the culture. Was that your experience at Sony?
Yes, there was somebody who presented that today that said very clearly it's not the tool, it's a mindset, and it is definitely a mindset, because you can use any tool, you can rsync with anything, you can do it with a script, but if you don't have the mindset of we need to have this as code, we need to be able to hand it off, then you're really not making any progress forward.
Absolutely. So how did you guys at Sony kind of approach, or I imagine you had to do some changing of the mindset, if you will, changing of the culture, or was that something you guys did, or consciously?
Definitely within our own group. Again, we tried to look at it from the perspective of you always need somebody to go first, and so we figured, well, we're here, we want to get involved in this, we want to show people that this can be successful. And so we kind of used ourselves as the guinea pigs. And so we have a group of about 9 different engineers. And we had a lot of the same struggles that everybody has. We can't repeat this, things are kind of stomping over each other. How do we coordinate, how do we communicate? Having to do hot fixes and knowing what's really out in your environment. And we've kind of taken the past year and kind of set the expectations that okay, we're gonna start working in a different cultural mindset. We're gonna start trying to attack these things kind of more systematically, and also in a way that you can basically hand stuff off. We really want to get to self-service. We really want to get to everything automated, and so that's and more than that, also empowering the rest of the team. If you see an issue, let's go fix it, right? Don't just let it sit there. You're free to, push changes into code, and if you can prove that they're worthwhile, then yeah, we'll take it in, and it can be turnaround. Things that used to take us months to turn around, we can do in a couple weeks now. So it's been a fairly drastic transformation within our own team.
I think it's also very helpful because it gives us a greater understanding of what the rest of the development organization is doing. We have all the way up to the installation of electric flow. We've put into automation and tools so that we can just hand it off. So we've done the infrastructure as code, so now when we're trying to convince the development teams what to do, we have an example of we did it this way, and this is why it was easy, and this is how it was handed off, and it makes it's a more directed path towards where we want to get in the future with everybody, and we have an understanding. Now we're not just speaking words that we've read online, we're speaking out of experience and what worked.
Got it. Besides your own, we're here at DevOps Enterprise Summit. Besides your own presentation, what are probably the 1 or 2 other must-see presentations or sessions for you guys?
We're just talking about that. The one we want to go to next is the one about making it one team. So unifying the mindset, because it is really difficult to come out of an organization where
Siloed.
Yes, and I think a lot of engineering organizations are siloed because it's easy to become that way, and you just start moving so quickly, it doesn't change.
No, and I don't think it's just engineering. I think a lot of organizations are siloed, and it's hard to break down those walls.
Right. So definitely that one.
Kyle?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, coming, we were talking about this earlier, coming from last year. Last year, the focus was really on, accelerating your builds and pushing those pipelines out and everything. And the focus so far, what we've heard, seems to be testing. So it kind of seems like, okay, well, we've got the whole build bottleneck and delivering now. Now it's kind of our bottleneck is now this testing aspect, and how do we automate that, and how do we ensure quality? So we're seeing a lot of that, and so we're getting some pretty good insights on what to take back for the end of the conference. Yeah.
Good. Well, we're about out of time, but Cheryl, Kyle, Sony Network Entertainment, I'm glad to see you guys are making such progress using continuous delivery, and I'm sure people will want to know and watch your sessions. So thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.